The package arrived unmarked, no return address, just a plain black envelope with a USB drive inside. Leonardo DiCaprio stared at it for a moment, fingers hesitating on the edges. Security on set was tight, especially here, deep in the Amazon rainforest, filming a documentary on deforestation. No one outside the crew should have known where he was. But someone did. He slid the drive into his laptop, eyes darting to the tent's entrance, jungle sounds muffled by canvas, rain pattering steadily. The screen flickered once, twice, and then a video file blinked open. Project Gaia, restricted. Leo's breath hitched. He knew that name. A documentary scrapped in the 90s, never released. Officially, it was due to creative differences, but rumors had swirled. Death threats to the director, lawsuits, the lead journalist vanishing without a trace. He clicked play. The footage was grainy, journalists moving through dense forest, cameras shaky but voices clear. Talks of illegal logging, off-the-record interviews with locals, hints of corporate funding behind mass deforestation. But it was the last clip that made Leo's blood run cold. A hidden camera shot in a boardroom, faces shadowed, a single voice smooth and cold. We control the resources. We control the world. The screen glitched. A new file autoplayed, satellite images of the Amazon, red zone spreading, data logs timestamped only weeks ago. Not history. The present. His hands were slick, pulse thundering. He reached for his phone, breath shallow, fingers shaking. But before he could dial, a new file blinked open, security footage shaky and dark. A man stood in a hotel room, eyes wild, papers strewn across the bed. Leo's breath caught. He knew that face. Ethan Hale, investigative journalist, declared dead in 1997. Ethan's voice was raw, frantic, almost pleading. If you're seeing this, I didn't make it. They control everything, governments, media, even Hollywood. Don't trust anyone. The video cut to black. Leo's breath hitched, fingers frozen on the keys. His phone buzzed suddenly, screen cracked but glowing. No caller ID, just a single message. You're next. The lights flickered, shadows thickening in the corners of the tent. Outside, the rain poured harder, drowning out every sound. And for the first time in years, Leonardo DiCaprio felt real fear. The rain drummed harder, a low roar against the tent's canvas. Leo's breath was shallow, eyes darting to the entrance, no movement, just shadows stretched long beneath flickering lights. His fingers trembled on the phone, pulse thundering. No signal, no bars, just that single message on the cracked screen. You're next. He forced a breath, fingers flying over the laptop keys. The video files were still open, timestamps blinking faintly. Ethan Hale stared back, eyes wild, voice cracking. They control everything, governments, media, even Hollywood. Don't trust anyone. Leo's jaw clenched. He closed the laptop with a snap, ears straining. No footsteps, no whispers, just the rain and the soft hum of generators beyond the tent. But the USB drive lay cold on the table, its black casing gleaming faintly. He slipped it into his jacket pocket, fingers slick, and yanked the tent flap open. Cold air rushed in, rain slicing against his face, lights blinking dimly through fog. The camp stretched dark and silent, shadows pooling between trees, security lights spinning. The production tent was 100 yards north, equipment, phones, sat feet. Leo moved fast, boots slipping on wet earth, jacket pulled tight. His eyes flicked to every shadow, every rustle of branches. The door creaked open, lights dim. Laptops blinked in standby, radios crackling faintly. He slid into a chair, breath shallow, fingers tapping fast on the keyboard. Satellite phone, no signal. Secure email, access denied. His pulse spiked, eyes narrowing. Someone had cut communications. The radio crackled, soft, layered static. Leo's fingers froze above the keyboard. For a breath, there was nothing, just faint white noise, a distant rumble of thunder. Then a voice bled through, smooth and cold. You shouldn't have opened it. Leo's breath hitched, heart pounding. His eyes flicked to the monitors, security feeds from every angle of the camp, rain-slicked paths stretching dark. One feed glitched, zooming in on a figure moving through shadows, hood low, steps deliberate. The screen bled white, a message scrolled slow and deliberate. Leave. Now. Leo's fingers tightened on the chair, breath raw. His eyes darted to the entrance, shadow shifting. No way out but forward, into the jungle, away from the camp, from the cameras. The radio crackled again, the voice smooth and venomous. You've seen too much, Mr. DiCaprio. His breath stilled, heart racing. The screens glitched once more. Footage from hours ago, security guards unconscious, gear missing, a jeep gone. They weren't just watching. They were already inside. His phone buzzed, screen cracked but glowing. No ID, a single line. Burn the drive, or they'll burn you. Leo's jaw clenched. His fingers brushed the USB drive, cold and smooth, mind racing. If what Ethan said was true, if they controlled everything, then this wasn't just a warning. It was a countdown. The rain was ice, searing through trees, lights flickering dimly. Leo's breath came fast, pulse hammering, fingers tight around the USB drive in his jacket pocket. The production tent stretched dark behind him, security feeds glitching with static, that last message burning in his mind. Burn the drive, or they'll burn you. He moved fast, boots slipping on mud, shadows twisting beneath palm fronds. The path veered left, toward the storage trailers, generators, backup gear, sat phones. If he could get a signal out, send the files somewhere safe. A twig snapped behind him. Leo's heart stalled. He spun, breath shallow, eyes darting through dark branches. No movement, no shadows, just rain slashing through mist, jungle stretched dark and endless. But the fear twisted deeper. They were already here. His fingers tightened on the drive, legs burning as he bolted forward. The trailer door hung half open, lights dim. Inside, equipment blinked faintly, generators humming, a sat phone charging on the desk. Leo slid inside, door creaking shut. His fingers flew over the sat phone, antenna extended, secure line. Static buzzed soft and low, no signal bars, red lights flashing. His jaw clenched, teeth grinding. They must have jammed the frequency, cut every line out of the camp. The USB drive lay cold in his palm, data light pulsing faintly. No way to upload, no way to warn anyone. A soft chime cut through the silence. His phone buzzed, no ID, just a message. There is no signal. There is no way out. His blood ran cold. Eyes darting to the window, rain streaked, shadows pooling between trees, a single figure moving slow and deliberate. But low, steps precise. Leo backed up, breath raw. The monitors glitched, a message bled through in crimson. You shouldn't have come here. The trailer door shuddered, locks clicking. Footsteps stopped just outside, boots crunching wet earth, shadows stretching beneath the gap. Leo's fingers clenched, eyes wide. His pulse roared, mind racing. No weapons, no signal, no way out. Just the USB drive and the files that could burn half of Hollywood. The door creaked, hinges groaning. A flashlight sliced through dark, glinting off wet floors. Leo stumbled back, breath shallow, fingers tight around the drive. The light swung, blinding. A voice came smooth and cold. Mr. DiCaprio, the man said, tone almost amused. We need that drive. Leo's jaw clenched. Who the hell are you? He snapped, voice raw. The man chuckled, steps slow and deliberate. Just someone who cleans up messes, he said smoothly. Hand it over, and this ends here. Leo's breath stilled, eyes darting. No way he'd make it past the door, no signal, no weapons. Just the drive and the truth buried in those files. The phone buzzed again, no ID, a single line. Burn it. Now. His fingers trembled, eyes narrowing. The man's smile widened, pistol glinting beneath his jacket. You have 5 seconds, he said softly. Leo's jaw clenched, heart pounding. 5 seconds to choose, hand over the drive, or burn it and run. And for the first time, he realized the truth. There was never going to be a way out. The gun glinted cold beneath the flashlight, rain slashing against the trailer walls. Leo's pulse hammered, eyes locked on the man at the door. Hood low, face shadowed, pistol steady. The USB drive was cold in his palm, data light pulsing faintly. Hand it over, the man said smoothly, voice almost bored. We're not asking twice. Leo's jaw clenched. His fingers tightened around the drive, mind racing, no signal, no backup, just shadows stretching outside and rain drowning every sound. His phone buzzed again, no ID, just a single message. Burn it, or they'll bury you. Leo's breath caught. Eyes darting to the generator flickering in the corner, emergency lights, gas can stacked beneath. The man's gaze followed, smile curling darkly. I wouldn't try that, he warned, pistol tilting slightly. You're worth more alive, but I can adjust. Leo's heart pounded, sweat slick on his palms. His eyes flicked to the window, shadows shifted, another figure moving between trees, hood low, rifle slung. No way out, no chance in a straight fight. His fingers slid into his pocket, lighter cold and smooth. The USB drive gleamed faintly, rain streaking down the window, shadows twisting. 5 seconds, the man snapped. Make a choice. Leo's jaw clenched. His fingers flicked the lighter open, flame sparking. The man's eyes narrowed, pistol rising. Don't. Leo dropped the drive onto a stack of documents, flame-licking edges, smoke curling dark and bitter. The man swore, lunging forward, boots slamming wet tile. The fire spread fast, papers curling black, plastic casing bubbling. Leo bolted sideways, shoulders slamming into shelves, hands scrambling for anything. Tools, flares, anything sharp. The pistol cracked, deafening, bullets slamming metal, sparks flaring. Leo's ears rang, body ducking low, adrenaline raw and brutal. Smoke thickened, lights flickering, shadows writhed between shelves. He tore through the side door, rain biting, mud clawing at boots. The path stretched dark, palms swaying, headlights flickering distant. Shots cracked behind, wild, splinters flying, mud spraying. His breath was ragged, lungs burning, legs pounding wet earth. The trees stretched dark and endless, shadows twisting with every flash of lightning. His fingers fumbled the phone, screen cracked but glowing. No signal. Leo swore, eyes darting. The path forked, one way toward the river, the other twisting deeper into jungle. Shouts echoed behind, flashlights slicing through mist. His phone buzzed. No ID, just a single line. Get to the river. They can't track you there. His breath hitched, pulse roaring. No time to think, no time to question. He bolted left, mud slick beneath boots, branches clawing at his jacket. Flashlights glinted behind, shouts muffled by rain. His legs burned, chest raw, river roar growing louder, cold and black between trees. The phone buzzed again, screen cracked, a single line. Trust no one. Leo's eyes narrowed, breath shallow. His fingers clenched the phone tight, heart pounding. No way back, no way out. Just shadows closing fast, and the river stretching dark and endless. And for the first time, he realized the truth. Burning the drive wasn't enough. They were coming to burn everything. The river stretched dark and swollen, rain slashing against black water. Leo's pulse hammered, breath raw, legs burning from the sprint through mud and twisted roots. Flashlights glinted behind, shouts muffled by the storm, shadows shifting between trees. His phone buzzed. No ID, just a single line. Get in the water. They're almost there. His jaw clenched, teeth grinding. No signal, no weapons, just the river rushing fast and brutal, banks steep and slick with mud. The lights grew closer, beams slicing through mist, footsteps fast and deliberate. Leo backed up, eyes darting. His fingers trembled on the phone, cracked screen, rain streaking, mud clinging to boots. No way to fight, no way to run. A voice bled through the trees, smooth and cold. He went this way. Make sure he doesn't leave. His breath caught, eyes narrowing. The same voice from the trailer, the man with the pistol, the one who wanted the drive. Shadows twisted, flashlights fanning out, glinting off rifles and rain-soaked jackets. Leo took a step back, boots slipping, heel catching on wet rock. Mud clawed at his ankles, water rushing cold and fast. No choice. No way out but forward. He slid down the bank, breath hitched, water searing through clothes. Cold bit deep, current pulling hard, shadows glinting above. Flashlights flickered through rain, voices snapping orders. The river tore him forward, current raw and brutal. His fingers clutched roots, nails splitting, lungs burning. Water surged, ice searing, rocks clawing beneath. His phone buzzed, somehow still working, screen cracked but glowing. A single line scrolled slow and deliberate. There's a boat downstream. Keep moving. His breath hitched, heart pounding. How the hell did they know? No signal, no tracking, just that same cracked screen and the same voice whispering commands. The current dragged him under, water black and endless, cold slicing through veins. His fingers clawed for anything, roots, rocks, mud biting raw. His head broke the surface, lungs searing, breath ragged and shallow. Lights glinted through trees, flashlights moving fast along the bank, shadows twisting, rifles glinting. His eyes narrowed, pulse roaring. They were tracking him, herding him downstream. The phone buzzed again. No ID, a single line. They're leading you. Get out of the water. His jaw clenched, eyes darting to the bank. Rocks sharp, branches clawing, mud slick. He dragged himself up, limbs numb, water streaming cold and dark. Footsteps echoed, boots crunching wet earth, voices layered, commands snapped sharp. Leo stumbled forward, heart pounding, eyes darting through shadows. A path twisted right, narrow, palms stretched dark and swaying. His fingers clutched the phone, mud slick and raw. No signal bars, just that same message burned into the screen. You have 2 minutes. The flashlights grew closer, steps fast, voices snapping. Leo's legs burned, breath tearing raw, trees blurring past. A clearing loomed, rivers stretching dark to the left, rocks slick and jagged. His eyes flicked to the shore, a boat half hidden beneath branches, motor silent, gas cans stacked. No one on board, no tracks in the mud, just a tarp stretched dark and dripping. His breath caught, pulse roaring. It could be a trap, no way to know. But the flashlights were closer, voices louder, shadows pooling fast. His phone buzzed one last time. No ID, a single line. Trust no one. Not even me. His blood ran cold, eyes wide. The flashlights burst through trees, hoods low, rifles gleaming. No time to think. No time to question. Leo bolted for the boat, fingers slick on cold metal, heart pounding raw and brutal. The motor roared to life, lights flared, and the river tore him forward, dark and endless, shadows stretching long. And for the first time, he realized the truth. There was no one to trust. The boat tore through dark water, motor roaring, rain slashing cold and brutal. Leo's breath was shallow, fingers slick on the wheel. Flashlights glinted on the shore, voices muffled by the storm. Shouts snapping orders, shadows twisting between trees. The phone buzzed, no ID, just a single line. They're tracking the signal. Kill the phone. His jaw clenched. He yanked the battery, screen died, darkness closing in. River stretched endless, banks steep and slick, no lights but the dashboard glow. A shot cracked, water sprayed, metal pinged sharp. Leo swore, ducking low, eyes darting. Rifles glinted through trees, flashlights spinning. No way to outrun, no way to hide. His breath caught, pulse roaring. Gas cans lay stacked beneath the tarp. One flick of the lighter, one chance to disappear. His fingers trembled, rain biting raw, eyes darting to the shadows creeping closer. He yanked a can open, gas sloshing dark, scent biting. The lighter flared, flame small but bright. The tarp caught fast, fire licking edges, smoke curling. Leo dove into the river, cold searing, current tearing brutal. The boat exploded behind, fire and metal, shockwave punching raw. Shouts echoed, flashlights spun, shadows flared red and furious. His breath was ragged, fingers clawing mud, body half numb. The shore loomed dark, trees stretched deep, shadows twisting. No time, no plan, just darkness and rain and whispers threading through the storm. Trust no one. And for the first time, Leo realized the truth. He was running blind. The jungle loomed dark, rain slashing through branches. Leo's breath was shallow, fingers slick with mud, clothes soaked and heavy. The explosion still echoed, fire glinting distant on the river, shouts snapping orders, flashlights weaving through mist. His legs burned, boots slipping on wet earth. No phone, no signal, just shadows shifting between trees. Voices grew closer, smooth and cold, commands precise. Fan out. He's on foot. Leo ducked low, pulse roaring. His eyes darted to a narrow path veering left, overgrown, half hidden by ferns. No way to know where it led, but no other choice. He moved fast, boots crunching leaves, heart pounding raw. The rain was ice, slicing through palms, every breath tearing shallow. His fingers clenched around a sharp rock, useless against rifles, but better than empty hands. A flashlight sliced through dark, beams sweeping trees, footsteps slow and deliberate. Leo pressed back, body half hidden by roots, eyes narrowed. The beam stopped, light blinding. Mr. DiCaprio. A voice called, smooth, almost amused. You've caused quite the mess. Leo's jaw clenched, breath catching. Footsteps stopped just feet away, boots crunching wet earth, shadows stretching. The light swung slow, a silhouette half visible. Hood low, rifle slung, smile curling. Come out, the man said lightly. Or we'll come in. Leo's heart hammered, fingers white on the rock. No way out. No chance to run. Just shadows closing fast and voices weaving cold through rain. The radio crackled, smooth and venomous. He's not alone. Find the other one. Leo's breath hitched. Other one. His eyes narrowed, mind racing. A rustle snapped right. Branches shifting, shadows twisting. A hand grabbed his arm, yanking hard. Leo's breath tore raw, fingers swinging the rock blind. Met air, and a voice hissed sharp. Stop. I'm trying to help. Dark eyes glinted, face half-shadowed. Rain streaking. Someone young. Hood low, gloved hand pressed firm. No uniform. No rifle. Just urgency raw and unfiltered. Come with me if you want to live. The stranger bit out, eyes darting. No time to question. No time to think. Leo bolted after, shadows twisting, flashlights spinning wild. And for the first time, he realized the truth. He wasn't the only one running. Branches whipped past, rain slicing cold. Leo's breath was ragged, legs burning, eyes fixed on the stranger moving fast ahead. Hood low, steps silent, no glances back. Flashlights swung behind, voices snapping orders, rifles glinting through dark. Who the hell are you? Leo bit out, pulse pounding. The stranger didn't stop, voice low and sharp. Someone who doesn't want you dead. Yet. They veered left, mud clawing at boots, path twisting through palms and ferns. Shots cracked behind, wood splintered, leaves sprayed. Leo stumbled, breath hitching, eyes darting. The stranger cursed, yanking him forward, grip iron, steps fast. Keep moving, or they'll find us both. A cave loomed dark and half hidden by vines, mouth narrow and slick with moss. The stranger ducked in, yanking Leo hard. Rocks bit knees, shadows stretched deep, rain muffled to a dull roar. The light died, darkness crushing. Leo's fingers trembled, heart raw. Start talking, he snapped. Who are you? The hood slipped back, dark eyes, mud-streaked, face sharp and tired. A woman, maybe late 20s, glare cold and final. Someone who warned you not to open that drive, she bit out. But you didn't listen. Leo's breath caught. The texts were from you? She snorted, eyes dark. Not all of them. Some were theirs. They wanted you scared and running right into this jungle. The drive was bait. His blood ran cold. Bait for what? Her gaze stayed flat. To bury you like they did Ethan Hale. You have no idea how deep this goes. The phone buzzed suddenly, no ID. Screen cracked but glowing. Leo's jaw clenched, eyes darting. The woman swore, fingers snatching it, eyes narrowing. The screen blinked once, just a single line. She can't be trusted. Leo's breath hitched, pulse roaring. Her jaw tightened, eyes flicking to him. You have to choose fast, she rasped. Me or them? Flashlights glinted outside, shadows shifting. No time to think. No time to question. And for the first time, Leo realized the truth. He couldn't trust anyone. Flashlights glinted outside the cave, voices snapping orders, shadows weaving between trees. Leo's breath was shallow, eyes darting between the woman and the cave mouth, dark, rain slashing, rifles glinting. Choose now, she bit out, eyes cold. Me or them? His fingers trembled, jaw clenched. The phone buzzed again, no ID, just a single line. She's lying. Leo swore under his breath, pulse pounding raw. How do I know you're not one of them? He snapped. She snorted, eyes narrowed. You don't. But if you go out there, you're dead. Your call. Voices grew closer, steps fast and deliberate, light slicing through dark. Leo's heart hammered, mind racing. No way out but forward, no time to think. He yanked the phone back, screen cracked and gleaming. The woman cursed, eyes flashing, but Leo moved first, ducking deeper into the cave, shadows pooling cold and endless. Her breath hitched, boots scraping rock. Smart choice, she muttered, eyes darting back. They won't follow past the river. Who are they? Leo rasped, steps fast, fingers slick with mud. Her jaw tightened. Call themselves the consortium. Bankers, politicians, media. Every time you see a scandal die overnight, that's them cleaning up. His blood ran cold. And Ethan Hale? She hesitated, just a flicker, almost too fast to catch. Dead. But not before he sent that drive. The cave twisted deeper, shadows stretching, air damp and heavy. Rocks bit into boots, light bleeding faintly from cracks above. Leo's pulse pounded, eyes narrowing. If they want me dead, why not just kill me? He bit out. Her smile was cold. Because they need you scared, running. They want the story to die with you. His jaw clenched, breath raw. What story? She stopped short, eyes dark. The one they've been writing for decades. Resource wars, climate cover-ups, media control. You think your documentaries scare them? They control the narrative. His phone buzzed again, no ID, just a single line. She's one of them. Run. Leo's breath hitched, eyes darting. The woman's jaw clenched, fingers twitching to the pistol at her side. I saved your life, she bit out, ice cold. Who do you trust, me or a ghost on a screen? Shouts echoed behind, boots crunching, flashlights spinning, voices sharp and final. Find him. No witnesses. Leo's heart pounded, eyes narrowing. No time, no backup, just a cracked phone, a woman with dark eyes and a pistol, and shadows closing fast. And for the first time, he realized the truth. He might not make it out alive. The cave twisted narrow and dark, rain muffled to a dull roar. Leo's breath was shallow, fingers slick on wet rock. Flashlights glinted behind, voices snapping orders, no time, no way out. The woman moved fast, eyes cold, pistol steady. This way, she bid out, steps echoing. We need to reach the exit before. A shot cracked, deafening, sparks flared. She stumbled, breath hitching, hand clutching her side. Blood-smeared rock, dark and glistening. Leo's heart pounded, fingers shaking. Hey, stay with me. Her eyes narrowed, voice rasping. You need to run. His jaw clenched. Not without answers. She shoved a flash drive into his palm, small, black, data light flickering. Everything's on there, she rasped. Ethan's files. The names, the orders, burn them. Footsteps echoed fast, boots crunching, shadows stretching. The phone buzzed in his pocket, no ID, just a single line. They're here. Run. His breath hitched. No choice. He bolted forward, legs burning, fingers tight on the drive. Voices snapped behind, rifles cracking, rocks shattering. The cave opened suddenly. Cold air, rain slicing, jungle dark and endless. Flashlights swung, shadows glinted. Leo ducked into trees, mud clawing, pulse roaring. His phone buzzed one last time. No ID, just a single line. Trust no one. And for the first time, he realized the truth. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning.